If you have around 10 minutes, I'm going to show how you can recreate this in Photoshop. The first thing you're going to want to do is load your player picture onto the canvas, the phone cutout, and then as you can see, I put the first tweet in there as well. And I forgot to start recording at the beginning, so that's why I kind of loaded it fast onto the canvas. But in order to get the Twitter screenshot of his homepage, like to look like it's on top of the phone or inside of the phone, I should say, you're going to want to go up to Edit, Transform, Distort, and then after you click that, it's going to let you like match the four corners of the screenshot onto the phone. And as you can see, there's still like the corners are still pointy, and I'm gonna go back in later and change that to I'm gonna use the brush tool and just kind of edge the corners out a little bit so it doesn't look like it's four corners sticking out. And then the next thing I want to do right here is add in the last player picture that I'm going to use, which I don't really want it to be a full body picture. I just want it to be something clear like this, one of the higher quality pictures you can find. And then whenever I load it in, sometimes I want to go straight to the camera raw filter just so I can try to have the cutout, export as good as possible, like onto the graphic or the canvas. So I just try to enhance like the texture and the clarity, and then obviously the colors a little bit. And then I go up to select subject, and it usually does a pretty good job cutting it out. But you can use like Remove BG, the Remove BG app, or their website, I'm pretty sure. But it did a pretty good job here. It cut it out what I needed it to. But as you can see right here, I'm using the shift edge in the bottom right. If there's parts of the graphic that didn't get transformed over, the shift edge can like put it back on, like the parts of the graphic that kind of faded away. And then right here, I wanted to add in the next tweet that I'm going to use. And as you can see, I'm not going to keep this whole long tweet right here. So what I want to do to just get the part that I want onto the graphic, I'm going to obviously put the tweet layer under him, or you don't have to. If you want to put it over him and make it smaller, you can. But what I'm going to do is go to the rectangle tool and then draw a rectangle over the part of the tweet that I want to keep. And then after I do that, I'm gonna put the tweet layer above the rectangle layer, and then I'm gonna go over to create a clipping mask. And whenever you create a clipping mask, it's just gonna put what you like drew the rectangle over. It's just gonna keep that inside of the rectangle after you put the tweet layer above it and then create a clipping mask. And if that doesn't really make sense, you can go back and just look at what I clicked, and that'll help. And then the next thing I wanted to do right here was add in this national championship trophy graphic that I saw online. And obviously there's like a little bracket on the left-hand side. That's pretty cool too. But I'm going to put that as the lowest layer and then create a layer mask so I can erase using the brush tool and just keeping what I want to keep on there, which is mainly just the trophy. I want to keep a little bit of the bracket that you can see. I want to keep a little bit of that in there, but this is mainly just to show the trophy. And the way that I'm going to get it to fade well is by going over to the brush tool and then making the brush really big like I did here, like close to 700 or 600 for the size, and then lowering the opacity just a little bit, and then obviously clicking on all the parts that you kind of want to fade. And I just wanted to fade pretty much everything around the trophy. And so what I'm going to do next right here is, as you can see inside of the tweets, you see the x.com. That part I couldn't get out of the clipping mask. So really the simplest way that I found to get rid of it is just create a layer over the tweet layer, and then just go to the brush tool. And obviously whenever you put it on white, you just draw over it. And you can't really tell. Well, you can't tell at all. There might be other ways to do it that are, more efficient, but I've had no problems with just drawing over it. And then right here, I went to texturelabs.com, and I just scrolled through until I found a background that I liked. And whenever I found this one, I want to put that as the lowest layer, or the most bottom layer, and lower the opacity a little bit. And then whenever I do the final camera raw filter at the end, it's going to make like that background that I just put in, it's going to make it pop a lot more, even though I lowered the opacity. And then right here is when I went back and curve those edges out of the phone, just to make it look like more of a regular screen. And like I said, I just went over to the brush tool, lowered it down to like around 10, or right here I think I used 8, yeah, or right around 10, and obviously create a layer mask onto the screenshot of the Twitter page, and then just kind of curve out the edges like right here. And then this next part right here, I'm going to show how I got the blue into the graphic, or like on one side of the graphic. I'm going to go over to the gradient tool right here, and then you're going to go up to the color mixer, or the gradient editor, I should say. And then after that, you're going to go to the color picker. And I always like to, or I guess I've just always, on the bottom left box that you see right here, I like to make that the color that, or the main color I want the graphic to be. And then the bottom right box, I like to choose whatever color is already on the graphic. And in this example, it's white. So, and you can pause it if you want, if that makes it easier. But there's 4 boxes right there. The top 2 are black, obviously. And then, like I said, the bottom left, I want to be the blue in this case. And then I changed it, as you can see, because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. And then the bottom right box, I want to be whatever color the graphic already is, which in this case, like I said, is white. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I'm going to just lower the opacity a little bit right here, or about halfway, I should say, because just like the background, whenever I do the final camera raw filter in the end, I'm going to really enhance the blue, like the blue part, and then also the clarity, which will help show the background even more. And then right here, I wanted to add shadows underneath the player's feet because it makes it look way more realistic, in my opinion. So you just go over to obviously you create a new layer, and then you go over to the brush tool, and you change the size of the brush to like kind of like an oval. And then, you just want the shadow to look kind of like it would, like a regular shadow. And there's times where you're going to want to do what I just did, which is create another layer for the other foot, shadow, because I'm going to want the front foot to be a lot darker, like the front foot shadow, because that's where his foot's planted, and that's where the darker shadow would be, on like a normal field. And then right here, I went ahead and added a arrow. Like I just type in arrow PNG on Google, and then, there's a bunch of options. And I chose the red one right here. And the main reason I like using these arrows a lot of the time is I feel like it just adds a little bit more like texture or like pop to the graphic. It just makes it stand out a little bit more, I feel like. And I just added his hometown to what the arrow is pointing to, just to add in some text. And right here, I went ahead and added the Ole Miss logo in kind of like the top right area, along with the Nike sign. Then I went ahead and looked up some pictures of their stadium, because I felt like the background was a little bit stale, even with the trophy. So I just wanted to add a little bit more into the graphic. And so I found this picture right here, and after I added that, I put that as the lowest layer, and then I lowered the opacity on it a lot after using the brush tool to fade it a little bit. And then right here, I wanted to add a camera raw filter to this picture of him before I do like the final camera raw filter of the whole graphic, just because I really want the jersey to be almost as blue as I can make it before it starts to look off. But so that's what I was doing right here, was just adding a camera raw filter just for that picture individually. And then after I do that, I'm gonna mask all the layers together into one. And there's multiple ways to do this. With whatever laptop you're on, it's going to be different. I'm pretty sure most of the Macs are the same, but if you look it up, it'll tell you what buttons to click to make all the layers into one. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the final camera raw filter to the whole graphic. And you can pause as I'm going along to see like exactly what I clicked. But the main things that I usually always do is just increase the texture a good amount and the clarity, and then the vibrance. Those are the 3 main things, I'd say. And then obviously in this case, because I want the blues to really pop, I'm going to go over to the blues tab. And I just wanted to increase it until it started to look not look good. Because there's a point to where you can increase it too much and then it just looks off. But after you put all the edits you want into the final camera raw filter, here's the final result. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching, and I'm going to be dropping more videos like this week. Thank you.